Thank you, Madam President. Madam President, as you know, and as my colleagues know, our budget process is finally moving. I wanted to come down to the Senate floor today to say a few words about the need for disaster relief. I'm going to talk about Louisiana, but not just Louisiana. Two states in particular come to mind, Kentucky and New York. I hesitate to single out specific states because I don't want to denigrate the needs in other states. We have a number of states that need disaster relief, and the way to address that issue, it seems to be, is in our budget bill. Madam President, as you know, Louisiana has, like many of our sister states, has suffered many natural disasters throughout our history. My constituents, my people, are very tough. They're very tired, but they're very tough. And the reason they're tired is because they have been through a nightmare in the past year and a half, I guess 2 years now. They faced what has felt to me like a nonstop series of hurricanes, of storms, of floods. And no matter how many times you have been through a natural disaster, I can tell you it doesn't get any easier to see your home demolished, or to see your home flood, or to see your business blown away. And that's why, as we're working out a government budget deal, and I hope we can work out a budget deal, I want to make sure that Washington doesn't forget about my people in Louisiana and forget about the other Americans who, through no fault of their own, have sustained damage from a natural disaster and need a little help. The storms and the floods that hit Louisiana in the last year and a half are not just a distant memory for many of my people. Louisiana families are going to have to live with the consequences of everything the Gulf has been throwing at us for a while. That means broken buildings. That means wrecked homes. That means destroyed businesses. That means debris cluttering the streets. And that doesn't even begin to describe the mental anguish of having a hurricane uproot your life and your livelihood and your kids' education and your ability to go to church on Sunday. So I wanted to remind all of my colleagues today, Madam President, of the litany of catastrophes that have befallen my state. I mentioned this list not to ask for your pity. Let me say it again. Louisianians are tough. We're tough as a boot. We are tired. But I want my colleagues to understand that I'm not talking about a simple rain shower here. My people have been through a lot. In August of 2020, Madam President, Hurricane Laura made landfall in Louisiana. Hurricane Laura destroyed or damaged more than 100,000 homes. Laura leveled or damaged almost every single building, every one, in the city of Lake Charles. Then came Hurricane Delta, right behind Laura, in October of 2020. Delta left more than 500,000 Americans, or rather Louisianians and Americans, of course, without power. Not just for a few minutes, not just for a few hours, for days. That very same month, Hurricane Zeta tore through Louisiana. Zeta caused approximately 400 100,000 Louisianians to lose power and damaged many of their homes and businesses. A few months went by, and now we're in February of 2021. An historic winter storm hit my state, froze my state. 37,000 people lost power. Now, even when temperatures warmed, we didn't find any relief because that May, historic rainfall soaked parts of my state. By parts, I don't mean a little bitty corner of my state. I mean big parts of my state. The rainfall drenched Lake Charles. Remember, I referenced Lake Charles with respect to Laura, which had already been battered. 12 inches of rain hitting Lake Charles, and you know the result. If you get 12 inches of rain in a short period of time, as we did in Lake Charles, you're going to flood. I don't care if you live on Pikes Peak. Then, Hurricane Ida. It made landfall in August of 2021. Ida was one of the worst hurricanes ever to devastate my state, and one of the worst hurricanes ever to make landfall in the United States of America. The only hurricanes that have matched its strength in terms of wind speed were Hurricane Laura and the last island hurricane of 1856. Wind speeds for Hurricane Ida were clocked at well over 100 miles an hour, in some cases 120, 135 miles an hour. Ida damaged more than 90,000 homes and caused roughly a fifth of all the people in my state to lose power. And I don't mean to just lose power for a little while. Lose power for days, weeks, months. Now, we're still catching our breath, as you can tell, Madam President, but just as we were about to catch our breath, we had another hurricane, Hurricane Nicholas. It hit Louisiana with depending on the area, between 5 and 10 inches of rain. And that was only a few weeks after Ida. And now, after all of these floods, after all of these hurricanes, after all of these storms, after all of these catastrophic rain events, after this terrible string of disasters, FEMA is implementing Risk Rating 2.0, a plan that's going to make flood insurance virtually unaffordable for the people of America and for the people of Louisiana. Madam President, Louisiana families, again, we're not asking for your pity. We don't want pity in Louisiana. We're proud people. We're tough people. But we're tired. And we pay taxes like everybody else does. And just like some citizens in other states, Kentucky, New York, to name two, we need a little help. We need to address all of these needs, not just for my state, but for the other states that need help in our budget. If you add up the damage estimates from Laura, Hurricane Laura, Delta, Zeta, and Ida, we're talking about 130,000 homes destroyed. And according to estimates from my state back home, from the governor and the legislature, Louisiana still needs hundreds of millions of dollars to help fix the damage that Laura and Delta inflicted on our housing needs and the small businesses of Southwest Louisiana. And frankly, I mentioned Ida and the severity of Ida. The damages for Ida will probably cost a little more than $2.5 billion. We in Louisiana have recovered from natural disasters before, and we're going to recover from these. But we're going to need help to rebuild, just like the people of Kentucky are going to need help, just like the people of New York will need help, just like the folks my fellow citizens out west are going to need help to recover from wildfires. And I fought before to get disaster recovery relief for my people. I don't think I have ever voted against a disaster relief bill to help my neighbors in other states, and I'm going to keep fighting. And I urge my colleagues not to forget the people in Louisiana and the people of America who have suffered these natural disasters as we work out our budget. With that, Madam President, I suggest the absence of a quorum.
Clerk will call the roll.
Ms. Baldwin.